Welcome to the Lunar New Year celebration. The celebration of the Lunar Year is a big thing around the world.
Wait.
Up to 1/4 of the humanity celebrate the Lunar New Year. And that is basically 2 billion people around the world. And the theme for the Lunar New Year is family, fortune, and of course, food. If you look at what's happening in China for the Lunar New Year, literally hundreds of million people return home to have a family reunion. That's very important. And the other thing is to sweep out the old, welcome the new, and then everybody wearing red. Now, the Lunar Year is a global phenomenon celebrated by many people. By bringing that energy here to Santa Clara, we are strengthening this foundation of our own country's success. We believe that appreciating and merging Eastern and Western culture is what defines the modern American experience. Our festival uses a universal language of art and food to tie together diverse culture into a unified community fabric. This is not a celebration of the past. It is an invitation to see how beautiful our shared, unique American culture can be. Joining us today at the podium, we have many diverse backgrounds. I'm going to ask everybody to spend 1 minute introducing yourself.
Hello everyone, my name is Don Orozco. I represent the Filipino-American community. And I paid for that one, okay? So, anyway, I've been here in the US for the past 21 years. And again, I enjoy being with the community. And I am glad that we have this lunar celebration, and I hope we keep on going. And this is something that all of us Asians are looking forward to celebrate.
Hello everyone, I am Michael Lehman Hai. I am a Vietnamese, very proud to be a Vietnamese. And I live here for more than 40 years. My background is in electronics, but in the early years, I was very fortunate to meet my business partner, Mr. Robert Mullins. We help the Vietnamese community and other community to immigrate to the U.S. During the past 40 years. We help them to complete the documentation so that they can reduce their waiting time and be in the U.S. With the permanent residency. During my time working at Robert Mullins International, I am very devoted our time for the community, Vietnamese community, and that's why I am here. Thank you very much, the organization for having me here. Thank you.
Happy New Year. I should say Gong He Fat Choi and Khap Mung Nam Moi. Is this correct? Yes? And in Hindi and Punjabi we say Naye Saal Ki Mubarak. My name is Herbir Bhatia. I am now the CEO of the Silicon Valley Chamber of Commerce. And I came to the United States in 1978. Those are the days when you get a green card at the airport, which is very foreign to people today. I am also the District 5170 Rotary Public Image Co-Chair and on the Sister Cities International Board. And the reason I bring that up, and I'll speak to that later, is because my immigrant story has shaped so much of my life, I am an engineer by education, what you're supposed to be, electrical engineer, but civic engagement, inclusion, diversity, celebration, and economic empowerment have always been the loves of my life, to bring the culture, economic empowerment, and community together. So I'll speak to that later today, but I'm very honored, and thank you again, Joel, for including me on your panel. I feel so much like a family member to you because you always think of the stories that I've experienced. So thank you very much.
Good evening. My name is Mary Grizzle, and I was born in a small island of Terceira, Açores. Today, I'm the co-chair of Reclaiming Our Downtown, a board member of Silicon Valley Chamber of Commerce, and a member of Diana Ding's Committee for the Silicon Valley Lunar New Year Together. I came to this country on February 12, 1949, with my mother and my two sisters. I was the middle child. My father had arrived California 4 years earlier and worked for many years milking cows in the San Joaquin Valley. I learned English quickly so I could translate for my parents as they navigated daily life. My parents worked relentlessly, and so did we. The values that guide me today, hard work, responsibility, and commitment to others, were shaped by their example. Whatever success I have achieved is rooted in their sacrifice and lessons that they have taught me. I am Portuguese, by the way. And I thank Joel for allowing me to speak up.
Thank you, Mary.
My name is Rakesh Rani. I'm a second generation Indian American, an entrepreneur and an attorney by profession. I'm running for Congress in the 14th district, and my story began in 1967 when my parents came from India. I grew up in Houston, Texas. I moved out to the Bay Area about 2.5 decades ago to start a company that eventually grew into a nationwide educational presence, and I'm raising 4 children here, third generation Indian Americans here in the Bay Area. My daily mission with my kids, and it's very wonderful to be here and to see the culture and the heritage that's being shared with everybody. My daily mission is to ensure that they remain anchored in their cultural heritage while also exploring the beauty of and the opportunities that are present to them here as Americans.
Thank you. I'm Danny Choi. I am the trustee for Fremont Union High School District, Trustee Area 5, which encompasses parts of West San Jose, Cupertino, Santa Clara, and Saratoga. During the day, I'm a high school teacher for the San Jose Unified School District. Technically, I'm a first-generation Korean American. I came here when I was 18 months old, but since I was so young, people have called me really a 1.9 generation Korean American. Like Mary, I recall navigating and translating to school teachers and administrators for my parents when I was small. And I feel like, especially in today's climate, my job is more than ever to translate for our community to the needs of the rest of the country as well. So that way we can make sure we are protecting the interests of our children. And it's really heartening to see all of us here together today from our different backgrounds uniting here and just showcasing what it means to be part of a community. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Deborah Von Hewen, and I'm the chair of the Santa Clara Cultural Commission. Although I was born in the United States, my ancestors were immigrants too. Some came from England before the founding of the colonies, and some came from Sweden in the late 1800s. I've also lived in places where I was a minority, such as near Tokyo, Japan, and in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Maybe that's why I'm on the Cultural Commission today, because I respect and admire the diversity I've been exposed to. I remember when I first moved to California, I just fell in love with the cultural diversity that I saw. People in saris and native dress in the grocery store, and just the wonderful mix of people from all over the world who lived in my neighborhood. I think that's why it means so much to me to be part of the community and help to grow our community with all its members. Thank you.
All of us come here for a reason. And the question I'm going to go around and ask the pull of the journey. Every family has a reason for making a big move. Think back to when you or your family first arrived in the USA. What was the main gravity that pulled you here? Was it a specific dream of freedom, a better job opportunity, or the desire to be where the action is? Don, I'll let you go first.
You know, Joel, I actually am hesitant moving here, but I am just looking at my children, and I believe the U.S. presents a better opportunity for my kids. That is why that was the one that actually pulled me to move here. And of course, opportunities are all abound here in the U.S. That's why we always go for the greener pasture. And the greener pasture will always be here in the United States. And I am so lucky because I actually arrived in the U.S. through Chicago, but it was too cold. So I decided to move to California, and this is where family is, the Asian family, the Asian culture.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you, Joe. I guess this is a very good question to me, all of above. However, being a boat person, I think most of the boat person who escaped out of Vietnam, who escaped the communist persecution, have a very clear reason to seek for the freedom and democracy. We escaped from Vietnam by both, and as you know, 1/3 of us didn't make it here, and 2/3 of us are here. We try to rebuild our life here, and at the same time, we help raise our children to be very helpful and to be good citizens to help this country grow. Thank you very much.
I think one common theme we're hearing is about the opportunity. I will say that when my father came from India in 1977 and we came a year later, he came with less than $50 in his pocket, and he slept on different people's sofas until he got a job and raised just enough to bring the rest of the family, myself and my brother and sister, to the United States. When we look back and ask him, why did you rip us from what we knew as community and family to bring us to this foreign culture, his point was always that I want my children to have a control in their destiny. And as we all know, the 1960s, 70s, and 80s, the world was very closed. Internet only came in the 1990s. So those of us that have been here prior to the 1990s were shaped by the pure essence and true historical point of view people used to have about the United States. It was a land of opportunity, that any man of any color could work hard and make themselves something. And immigrants shared that because we came from mostly less successful or less prosperous nations at that time. And so when I look at that, it's pretty clear to me that they gave up all that to make sure that us as their generations that are growing here don't forget the sacrifices they made, and ensure that I don't take for granted the times that I live in. And I'm always true to those moments of why they left, because they left everything they knew. And that's why they put us through education, they put us to volunteerism, and they ensured that we celebrate all cultures, because that is what binds us when we came here. As a chamber CEO now, I try to make sure I remind everybody the chamber is about commerce, but commerce in Silicon Valley comes from the cultural roots of hard work, of savings, of ethical and honest labor, And today we have to celebrate that culture, community, and commerce are all very much connected. And that's from the roots of what my family left India for. Thank you.
My family was, my mother and father were very compassionate people. And this question, the pull of the journey, means a lot to me. Like many families, we came to this country drawn by the freedoms promised in the Constitution and the belief that steady, honest work could lead to a better life. We believe that if you worked hard and contributed, you could afford the American dream, a home, an education, and the chance to build a future for your children.
So to understand why my parents left in 1967, I think we just need to understand the sheer scale of the gap between these two worlds. In 1967, India's GDP per capita was less than $100. The US's was over $4,000. For someone for a brilliant student who was very focused on education from a very modest background, it was a ceiling on their soul for the most part. And as everyone mentioned, the opportunities of this country were very appealing and very motivating for someone like that. At that time, the Immigration and Nationality Act of 1965 had just abolished quotas, and America was very heavily investing in the growth of their economy by bringing in trained, high-skilled immigrants, which made a big difference. I think that the U.S. at that time was probably the only ecosystem in the world where you could have someone from a lower class background from India be sponsored to come and contribute to the growth of this economy, which made a big difference. My parents stayed not because it was easy, but because they realized, as has everybody here that's mentioned, is that your trajectory in this country was really based on your hard work and your work ethics. It grounded my family in this idea that merit is really the greatest equalizer in life. And it's, one thing my father used to tell us that talent is universal, but opportunity is not. It's exactly what brought my parents to this country.
So my family story echoes a lot of what people have said already. Is there a microphone nearby? But I don't really recall most of that because, again, I was a baby when I came over. I know that for my father and my mother, it was education. He was a grad student at UC Davis in the early 70s when a lot of people had the opportunity to come over from Asia with the changes in immigration law. But for the first year or so of my life, I was raised by my paternal grandmother as a single grandmother. And she took care of me while my father and his wife lived abroad trying to create a better life for themselves in California. Because as with many of your home countries, South Korea back then was not the economic powerhouse that we think of now. And the opportunities here were really great. But what I really think about is like the striving for education, the struggle for opportunity, and how hard it must have been for my grandmother to be raising me by herself, and then to have my father come back when I was old enough, or at least when my passport paperwork had come through enough so that he could take me back to California. I have no recollection of the woman who raised me for my first year or so of life, and that gnaws at me, but it also tells me about the sacrifice that my parents and my grandmother were willing to make to come over here, this hope that we would have this society here today. Where I grew up as a kid, many of you probably remember being told that America's a melting pot where we kind of put aside our cultural backgrounds to come together as this hodgepodge of a unified America. And that idea has shifted since then to something which I believe should look more like this. We've got these wonderful carts, tents, and booths representing all these beautiful cultures. We've got amazing costumes here. I shouldn't say cultural dress, right? I'm here in my generic blazer, but I'm looking at this, and this is what America should look like at its best, is people from all these backgrounds accepting and really desirous to learn more about each other too. So again, thank you for being here, and I love this that we see out here. Thank you.
Although it might not seem like it at first, My background is quite similar in that my great-grandfather was an immigrant. When he was 14, his family decided as the oldest son that he should come to America on his own to get a job and send money back home. So he came by boat when he was 14, spoke no English, didn't have any money, didn't have a job, and just kind of fell on the grace and the charity of the Swedish community in New York City, who gave him places to stay, who helped him find odd jobs, who taught him English, and helped him start to learn how to read English as well. So eventually he got a job with the railroad, and eventually was sent to Siberia to help build the Trans-Siberian Railway. When he came back, he got a job, his job was waiting for him at the railroad, where he spent the rest of his career. So I think, the thing that seems most similar to me from many immigrants' story is that the local community, cultural community, embraced him and helped him learn how to survive in a foreign country. Again, he had no prospects, he had no money, he didn't speak the language, but eventually, because of the opportunity of America, he was able to thrive and eventually was able to share his prosperity with his family.
We're a diverse community, and because of that, we accept culture and tradition from everywhere. We appreciate and merge the Eastern and Western culture is what defines America today. After studying all that, America is still a country in experiment. We're only 250 years old, okay? The Chinese have been here, the culture 4,000 or 5,000 years, and so is Indian and so on. America today is being challenged because we're no longer the big hegemon in the world. Other people are challenging us. So history shows us that even the greatest power eventually face a choice between changing or slowing down. In your own work or life, do you feel that you have helped build a new chapter in our country? Or do you sometimes feel like you are hitting a wall of old ways of doing things?
You actually connected the dots, and when I say connect the dots, just look at the different cultural differences that are present right now. And again, we were discussing earlier, we are perceived to be as one, Asians, right? And we may have like different cultural background, but still we are one. And I believe America is the one that presents, because it is a country of immigrants. It is still the one that presents opportunities for each and every one of us, from any angles of our living, especially technology. But the only downside, of course, is life is getting too fast. Social media made us connect very easily, but sometimes it is also part of our problem, the social media.
Thank you for the question, Joe. Thank you, Don. I always be grateful for the American people and the American government to have us here. I guess they have the moral responsibility for all of the Vietnamese. I also be grateful for the 1960 U.S. government who terminate the restriction for Asian to come here to America. But like many of you have noticed that the current administration seems like very slow work on the immigration. And like Don say, this is the United States of America. This is the country of immigrants. And we we contribute too much for this country. And my greatest contribution to this country is my 3 adult children who are in their prime time. They could contribute more than their parents did, and that is what I am very proud of them. And they are also the generation that they respect the freedom, the democracy, and the dignity of leadership. I hope America will be regain the respect of the world again. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I really love this question because, as I mentioned, because I came in the 1970s, I have a very different recollection of the America that I came into. As we heard from others as well, and that the immigration laws were very different those days. And I have a feeling that our current community might feel that America was always the way it was until maybe last year. And I mean Silicon Valley. Silicon Valley is not the rest of the United States. And I'm constantly reminded of that because I do know what that was because I came from Michigan and Ohio. There was no diversity there. If you were just naturally different in any which way, you automatically found each other and you became united as one family. But in the last 20, 25 years of Silicon Valley, we've taken a little bit of that for granted. And my whole guidance from my parents and my family has always been not to lose sight of what was like when I came. Because those of us that came here prior to 1990s have a very different feeling about what it means to be an American. The world was much more closed. It did not have access to information, access to this global understanding that it has now. It's just a blip in the time. As Joel said, this is our 250th year as a country. And what's happened is that this is experiment that he mentioned. At that time, we needed to do certain things that were relevant to get us to feel a part of this community. So our values were a little bit different then. But we all had the same Declaration of Independence, which I feel I've tried to embrace in everything I do, which all men have that same unalienable right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And I try my level best to stay true to those words and those moments, so this moment in time does not trick me into thinking that suddenly America is always and will always be exactly the way it is now. It's not. We are here today because of what happened before. Now it's our opportunity to shape the next chapter of United States life, but let's not forget the basics of what make us who we are here and employ that in every which way of our life. Thank you.
Thank you, Joel. When I came in 1949, America was a total different America. It is difficult for me to see today's America as a true engine of opportunity. I often go to bed crying at night as to what's happening today. I watch my grandchildren, educated, hardworking, and holding good jobs, struggle to afford homes of their own. I see a country moving backward instead of forward, where constitutional rights are weakened and people hesitate to speak out for fear of retaliation. My role in this moment is to remind others never, never to give up the fight, and never, never allow our voices to fall silent. Silence is not neutrality, it's consent, and we must speak out for one another.
Yeah, I mean, the world is indeed becoming much more multipolar, but I think the real threat to this engine of opportunity is that we're trading objective standards for more subjective variables, and I think that becomes very difficult and dangerous for our kids, as Mary was mentioning. As an attorney and an entrepreneur in the education space, I see this shift as kind of a fundamental breakdown of what the best America has to offer to everybody. In my educational company, I see thousands of students every year that work really hard, and there has to be an assurance that we have to signal to every child that their individual efforts that will be enough, that they, as long as they work hard, the doors will and they should open for them. If you look at the educational system today, Asian Americans make up about 7% of our total population. When merit is the primary metric, they make up about 30 to 40% of the elite enrollments. When we remove those clear yardsticks, we lose the predictability that allows a child from any background to know that if they work hard enough, that they will succeed. It's exactly what brought my parents to this country in the first place, and it's exactly what I feel we need to protect.
This is a tough question to address without talking about the elephant in the room, which is the threat to our nation's fabric and the democracy going on right now. I think about Dr. King and his reference to America writing a check of promise that some people, some groups were able to access more easily than others. We can't all deposit that check equally or to the same measure. And honestly, some of this stuff is really hard to hear. I hear about criticisms about DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion. And for those of you who believe that this is not a fair way to approach things, I understand that fairness is something that we all share as a value. But when you look at the results of what replaces DEI, at least when it's coming from our federal government, it's simply cronyism, nepotism, sons, children of your friends. This is not by any measure a meritocracy. And I think that, especially coming from an Asian American perspective, what we've always valued and wanted for our children is education and the opportunity to show what we could do. So I feel like the engines of opportunity that America has promised, while still having a heartbeat, are under threat today, and I want to make sure that we are all committed to fighting to save that heartbeat.
Thank you. As I mentioned, my great-grandfather had only a 7th grade education, but because of the opportunities that were available to him, he educated himself. He learned how to read. He was an avid reader, always had several books around him. And his son, my grandfather, eventually went to law school and also worked for the railroad, but eventually became the mayor of Roselle, Illinois, which was a mostly German community. And my grandfather and grandmother, who didn't speak German, were at a disadvantage there as well. But the German community welcomed them in, and eventually my grandmother cooked Sunday dinners that the whole neighborhood benefited from, and my grandfather was elected mayor. So the community helped them, become part of the greater town of Roselle. I just wanted to share that story because I think in so many cases, it's the individual communities, the individual culture, the food, the populations that welcome people and help them become part of the greater town that really is the opportunity here. And with my grandfather being a mayor and some of my other ancestors being, a town clerk or town treasurer, and me being on the Cultural Commission, I really feel a responsibility to step up and serve the community. And there's that saying that if you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem. So if you can, I really think giving back to the community, finding a way to represent your community in the civic life of your town is one way to make sure that you're helping to change the world.
I want every panelist to have 2 minutes to summarize what it means to come to America. And America is great, but we can make it greater. So we would like to hear from you how you would work to make America the country that is really great.
Since America has opened its doors to opportunities like this one, it is always best that we are able to connect with our community, especially the diverse community that we have. And we are very lucky that we are from California, specifically Silicon Valley area, where it is really diverse. And you see, there's so many cultures that are involved here, and it is always great to learn and pass it on to your family, to your next generation, so that they learn to love the community itself. And the idea really is to work not just with our ethnic government, but also the current government, the U.S. government, because everything will work together harmoniously if we are together. And again, coming to America, which is actually our theme for this coming up search, is something that gives us all the opportunity that we can have in this world.
Thank you. To me, being in the America is not only the dream come true, but we sacrifice our life to be here. And fortunately, I have a very beautiful family. My my 3 adult children are contributing their time, their work for America. And I'd like to take this opportunity to thank you, the organization, for this very meaningful event. I also thanks Minh Tran and his team for having me here. The current event is for me is really a short-term basic. I am lucky that my family is very united. We don't polarize by current events, and although it's make us very nervous to make any sound decision for our future, but I hope that this is only a temporary event, and I look forward for the United States of America, the nation of immigrants. Thank you very much.
Very well said, the nation of immigrants. You know, this topic, me and Joel have a lot of conversations around, and I want to come back to something I said earlier. I think it's very, very critical to remember that we are part of a collective. We contribute to society, and together we make it whole. I remind myself not to forget that I'm not just about one identity. Yes, I am an Indian. Yes, I am Punjabi. I am Sikh. I am an engineer. I'm a woman. You just name it. I'm Asian. I'm a human. Wherever you want to draw the line. But it's so easy to forget that. Don't be complacent. Just keep pushing the boundaries and remembering to go beyond our comfort zones. We're not here to protect one of our communities. We're here to protect the whole community. America was not founded on the traditional reasons most nations were founded, of an ethnic community or ethnic religion. It was founded on that common ability to and belief system that we all have equal rights to find happiness, to find liberty, but also to contribute, because that's the only way this nation works. Otherwise, if we bring our politics, if we bring the cultures and the problems of a different nation into this nation, we will dilute and lose what that makes this nation so very special. So I am proud to carry all these identities, but I'm also very proud to bring the best of them to contribute to my collective society, which is my American family, my American home. This is where all of us belong. So let's not get lost in our own singular community, whether it's Indian, whether it's Chinese, whether it's Vietnamese. But remember that bring most of that into the common space. Some people called it the melting pot. We've always tried to call it the salad bowl. So I want to always be true to that and ask that I ask of you, please don't get lost in your individuality, because it's there, but we only work as good as we do because of our collective. So thank you for allowing me to share that. And again, Joel, for bringing me here.
I'm 83 years old, and I feel with this community that I see in front of me, this is part of my heritage, even though I'm not Asian. And there, of course, this is mostly Asian people from the different countries. But being Portuguese, we're very much similar in our traditions, in our love of life, in our love of family, and wanting a wanting life better for our families. In my family, the story has always been about working hard and believing things would get better. The belief helped my parents get through some very difficult times, and it shaped how we lived our lives. But today, it feels different. In 26, the cost of living keeps climbing. Housing feels out of reach for many, and the gap between those getting ahead and those just trying to stay afloat keep growing. Honoring our family, our story now, means being honest about what's changed, being willing to adjust how we create opportunity so the next generation has a real chance to build a stable future. And I would also like to add that getting involved, people often ask me, you're 83 years old, why don't you go home and sit in a chair? I can't do that because I feel that I have a voice that needs to speak out about injustice and about the good things, not just the injustices. And if we stick together as a community, we can bring our nation whole again. We can make it better.
So yeah, as echoing what everyone says, is that the classic story of people that came in the 1960s and the 1970s, like my parents, was really a search for stability. Today, it's more than that. I mean, we're really fighting to maintain a sense of excellence in a very hyper-competitive, globalized world. We have. I mean, I am. I'm a proud American, born and raised on this soil. But the luck that my parents felt when they came here is not a permanent guarantee. It's something that we all have to work together to ensure that we focus on excellence for our kids. Being Asian American or being from any other country in the world it's not about being split between two worlds. It's about a superpower of possessing the best of both. And that's a legacy that we really need to work together to protect for all.
So, growing up, I had a lot of issues with the ideas of collectivism that were espoused by my parents, by other members of older Korean generations, because it often manifested like this, like, Danny, why can't you be more like so-and-so who got into Stanford? Why can't you be more like this? I think this is a common Asian refrain. Why can't you be more like this? Or don't stand out like that. That's going to make us look bad. And so I really embraced the side of America where owning your own voice, being yourself, that seemed like the greatest of things. And I think of the recent ICE agent who went viral for coming up with an admittedly pretty catchy phrase. He said, if you raise your voice, I will erase your voice. Right? Like that's going to be on bumper stickers somewhere, I'm sure, if it's not already. And I think about how profoundly un-American that is. Right? It's weirdly kind of like the dark side of my parents' Asian collectivist kind of instincts, right? Like, don't stand out. If you raise your voice and I don't like it, you should be erased. Your voice should not stand out. You hear it when you hear President Trump saying, I don't want housing prices to go down. I want the wealth to increase for them. He speaks very clearly about who deserves to have a house, who deserves to have a voice. Mary Grizzle has spoken very correctly and pointedly towards that issue. Like, housing is one of those things we all need, but we kind of just operate under the safer assumption that, well, things aren't that bad because many people have houses. The folks who are complaining must be the problem. So I think about how, if I want to see an America that we can all live in a kind of harmony and happiness, really, it should be one that takes these instincts of collectivism, of working together to try to do what's right by all, by the least of us. And then we can allow that to help those individual voices flourish, because they should not be stepped down. They should not be erased. Thank you.
I just want to say that, for the history, the last 250 years, the history of the United States, there has been time and time again where a certain group of people were singled out to be treated as the other, whether it was Irish or Mexican or Black or Asian, Japanese during World War II. So many instances in history where American citizens either had their citizenship threatened or were denied a green card, denied to be a naturalized citizen, and really more or less persecuted just for the country of their birth or their ancestry. And I personally feel that our diversity is what gives us strength. So again, not as a melting pot, but as a collective of all the best of all of our countries. And the cultures that we have, although we may have different dress or food or traditions, all of those together just reflect that we're a human family, that we have much more in common than we have differences. And if we remember that, then we can be strong.
Panel member for appearing, and I think the main thing to remember is we are a diverse community, and we should work together to make a better United States. Now the commercial, okay? Every year we do a video contest on Asian American stories. We feel that Asian Americans should tell their story to the rest of the country. The first year, the theme was all of us belong here, because don't tell me to go home because I'm American, okay? Second year is my contribution to America, because we all come to this country to give America a gift. We're not, here to come for the welfare. And this year, the theme is coming to America. So please go to the booth and go on site to look at AsianAmericanStory.org and ask your friends, your relatives, maybe yourself, to enter the video contest, which is coming to America. With that, I thank all the panel members for appearing. Let's give each other a big hand. Thank you.